everybody, and we are back in the Kindred kitchen again today, and this time I'm going to make this walnut pasta that I've made for my family for quite a few years, and it has lots of vegetables in it, and I'm just going to give a rundown of the ingredients first, and then we're going to get cooking. So I have a whole head of cauliflower here, just chopped up. I have 2 celery spears, and I have 2 carrots, 2 large carrots, 2 large celery spears chopped. I've got 2 cups of frozen peas, more or less. I've got 2 cups of vegetable broth. I'm going to add about 1.5 cups of soy milk at the end. I have 1 whole onion diced up. I've got 2 tablespoons of arrowroot powder, although you could use cornstarch, you can use potato flour, you can use whatever you want for this, but I just happen to have arrowroot powder. I have 1 tablespoon of poultry seasoning, and I don't know why they call it poultry seasoning, because I use it a lot and I never use it on poultry. But it has a great combination of sage and coriander and marjoram and things like that, and I just love the flavor. And then I have 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. I have about 1 cup of chopped walnuts. I have 2 teaspoons of tamari in here. And then I have 1 pound of cooked pasta. This was just an organic pasta that I had in my fridge, but you can use any pasta. You can use like a tinkyata, a gluten-free pasta, or you can use a whole wheat pasta, any kind of pasta you want to use. This is just what I had. Okay, so those are the ingredients. Now we're going to move over to the stove and get going. All right, I have this pan heating up. And we're going to start by adding the onion, the carrot, and the celery to the pan. And let those go for a few minutes first. They take the longest to cook, so I add them first. And we do not use any oil in our cooking, so I am going to add just a couple of tablespoons of vegetable broth as I need it. So let me just... We'll get this going. Oop, I think I overflowed the pan, Bee.
It's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's not even started yet.
I know.
You did too much hocus pocus on those veggies.
I know. All right, let me turn this up. While these are going, I'm going to add some of my seasonings. Let me just add. I have my tablespoon of poultry seasoning here. Mix that in. Oh, see, you can smell that poultry seasoning. It just smells so good. The sage and stuff in there smells so good. And I'm going to add just a little salt and a little pepper. So I'm going to add like 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And like 1/2 teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt. I mean, you can add more or less as you like it. And I'm going to let these go for just a minute before I add the cauliflower. The next step is just add the cauliflower. I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of the vegetable broth. I'm going to cover it, and then I'm going to let it cook for about 5 minutes on a medium-high heat.
Till it's tender?
Yep, till they're tender.
All right.
And it won't take long. Let me get the cauliflower in there. And I'm just going to add some of the vegetable broth. You don't want it to go dry. You don't want your vegetables to burn. And I'm going to cover it up, and we're going to let this go for about 5 or 10 minutes until the veggies are nice and tender, and then we'll be back. All right, everybody, the veggies are nice and cooked, as you can see. It's looking delicious. So now I am going to go ahead and add the tamari in here. I'm going to add almost all of my vegetable broth. I'm going to leave about 1/2 cup or so in here. I'm going to go ahead and add the peas so they can thaw out. Get out of there. And the walnuts. And we're going to let this go for just a minute so the peas can get all nice and warm and thawed. Yeah, look at that. Yum. Do you sing when you cook, V?
No, I usually have the music on. And my kids say, yeah, mom's ready to cook now.
Like, yeah.
I'm usually blasting music.
All right, I'm going to put the lid back on this just for another minute or two so those peas can get thawed and everything can melt together, and then we'll finish it up and be ready to eat.
Yum.
All right, my peas have thawed. Everything is rolling along nicely in here. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit. I'm going to add that nutritional yeast. We mix that in good before we add the rest of everything. Now to thicken up this broth just a little bit so that it will stick to the pasta, what I do is I take the arrowroot powder, I add it to that little bit of reserved vegetable broth that I had. I'm going to mix it up, and then I'm going to add it in, and you'll see that it'll bring everything together.
Well, everything is together in the pot.
Well, I know, but the broth is at the bottom.
They can't.
That's what I mean.
They can't escape.
They can't escape. Everything is in the bottom of the pot. So this is going to thicken up the broth and make it really good and help it stick to the pasta and make it nice and creamy. Let's add
kind of like
soy
a
milk.
vegan Alfredo kind of thing you got going on.
We're going to add the soy milk now. I'm just going to add a cup. Maybe a little bit more than a cup. About a cup. I think my recipe I have, it's about a cup and a half.
Okay.
I usually don't measure things. I just kind of go until I like it. But
Can you say that one more time? About you not measuring stuff?
I don't usually measure things.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of go until I like it.
Okay.
That's what most people do, I think. When you cook at home,
Yeah.
home cooks, when you cook at home, you just go until it tastes right.
Then
or
why
until
do
like
you
it.
always tell me, so how much did you put in there, V? You gotta be more specific, V.
Well,
V.
because I think that on our videos, I think people want to know. You know? Right? Don't you want to know, people? Yes. You know, and if you're cooking for the first time, I think, especially if you're new to plant-based cooking, or, you know, you're just trying out vegan for Veganuary or things like that, I think you like to know that, and then you can go off on your own. You know, if you like more salt, or if you want different seasonings, you add different seasonings. If you want garlic in this, you could add garlic. You could add zucchini or broccoli to this. So I think once you learn the basics, you kind of go on your own. All right, see how nice and thick the broth is in there now? I can smell it, and I can smell that it needs a little bit more salt and pepper. So I'm going to add about, can't you smell it? Don't you smell it? I'm going to add another 1/4 teaspoon of pepper and about another 1/2 teaspoon of salt. It just smells like it needs it. My kids laugh at me when I say that, too. So you're not the only one. I'll be cooking something, I'll be like, okay, it smells like it needs more whatever. And they're like, what? I'm like, I can't smell, you know, has a certain smell. All right, now that that is done, we are going to add the pasta. And I pre-cooked this just for time because I'm here at V's house. You could easily...
Well, V ain't kicking you out.
Well, I know, but, you know, it just... cooking pasta takes time. And you could cook this. I usually cook the pasta while I'm cooking the vegetables. So the pasta is going on the other side of the stove. I'm going to try to mix this in this pot. I might not be able to get all the pasta in, but you all will get the gist of it.
You gotta say y'all.
Y'all will get the gist of it. And if you are, I know that some people out there are kind of watching their processed food intake, you know, like pasta and things like that. If you're watching that, you know, you may want to add just a 1/2 pound of pasta.
Yeah.
Instead of the whole.
Or you could just, the veggies, you can serve it up with rice, right?
You certainly could, yes. It would taste really good.
Or grains like farro or
Quinoa.
quinoa
is a
and
good
stuff
one.
like that. Yeah.
Yep. There, look at that. I think that actually looks really good. I'm going to add just a little bit more pasta because I do have a little bit more room in that pot. We'll see if I can mix that up. And then I will bring it over to the counter and serve it up in a bowl, and you'll see what it looks like.
Go.
All right, so we're just gonna plate this up a little bit here so you can see what it looks like. And this is enough for my family plus leftovers, so my kids will eat on this for lunch tomorrow. And there you have it. Looks amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and don't forget to follow us on all the platforms. We are on Facebook, we're Kindred Vegans, and we're on Instagram, we're K-Vegans, and you'll probably see a picture of this on Instagram, so make sure to go over there and check it out. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I will list the ingredients down in the description box, so you don't have to try to catch it as everything goes by. And we will catch y'all next time. Have a good day.
And V's behind the camera, so
Yeah, he's behind the camera.
bye guys.
Bye.